Good morning, Justin.
Good morning.
How's it going, my friend?
It's going good.
I gotta prop you up a little bit here because from me talking to you, you are one of the more valuable loan officers here in the Tampa Bay area, as far as the value you bring, your care for your clients, and your lead generating skills are next to none too. And we're gonna dive into that a little bit today because we're talking about retargeting today, right?
That's right. That is right. Yeah, I appreciate the words there. I mean, especially like in things that are going on right now, like that's probably the most important thing is being able to retarget our already list, right? And
Right.
so many people are like, I got to go get new clients, and it's like you have people that are sitting right there that you just forgot about, and this is a way to make sure that we don't ever forget about them again. So, yeah, I'm excited to do this.
I'm glad you said that. Let's not forget about the people, love the people you're with or who you were with. We're going to
Right.
get reconnected. So retargeting is basically, we can almost say it's a reconnection.
It is. Yeah,
Nice.
absolutely. I mean, these guys are coming from, open houses that you've done. They're coming from maybe lead gen that you've done, with your brokerage company or, just any way that you've collected information on clients. And, I have some agents that I work with that have hundreds, if not thousands of people in their database that they may have a CRM, they may have a system, but they're all the same. Everybody's emails are basically the same. They're all written by the same companies. And so you got to have a different way to get in front of people. And I think this is by far the best way. It's also the cheapest way. And it's something that people want to interact with you because they see you, they get to see your face, they recognize you. And I promise you, when all this starts to die down, people knowing you and seeing you, that's going to make you go tenfold for 2020.
Boom. Everything you said right there was just money. This is the best. This is the cheapest way to get in front and reconnect by retargeting with people who already know you, and it's time not to be forgotten any longer. So especially during a
Absolutely.
time like this, when you said it's time to come out, make sure people do continue to see you and know that you care. And after this dust does settle, we're able to come out with no love lost.
Absolutely. I have a lot of agents right now. Of course, they know that I do this, right? And they're like, I'm kind of struggling. I'm struggling. And I'm like, what's your database look like? And they're like, okay, I have people. Okay, well, let's start retargeting those guys. And there's a lot of pain with realtors right now. And then there's some that are still doing really well, but there is a lot of pain. And so this is a great way to kind of, release some of that pain a little bit and start moving in the right direction.
I like what you said there too about releasing the pain. That's huge.
Yeah.
And that's something we're all interested in. So before we get into retargeting too, like what are some campaigns that we can put out for retargeting, like to get reconnected, reinvigorate some of our past database, open house lists? What all
Right.
can we use for retargeting?
Yeah, so obviously I do a lot of Google advertising and a lot of search type advertising. So I get a lot of people that way, and you can really go down the advertising rabbit hole quickly if you try to learn every little technique that there is, because it's just mind blowing what's there. I mean, we all see it every day. We go to a shopping cart, we don't buy it, we go back to Facebook, and the next thing you know, it's 10% off, and they're like, "Hey, come back." That's retargeting. Now we're not going to talk about that because that's like a super high level, stuff. But
Yes.
of course, your open houses that you've done is probably going to be the number one, way. If your brokerage is doing any kind of lead generation, I know, EXP, for example, has like I think they call it KV Core, and they are able to, pull a lot of people from that. People that are using Commissions Inc. and anything that gives you a list is going to work for this retargeting. And you got to remember, all those people were interested in purchasing a home. And the great part about being a realtor is that you're the fun part of the process, right?
You
So
really are.
you're the one that's so easy to talk to. You don't have to worry about anything like somebody looking at your credit report, how much money you make. You don't have to do any of that scary stuff. So
Diving into the
you're retargeting
details.
those people as a realtor. It's amazing. It really works really, really well.
Yes, because the excitement's in the home, not the loan, right? We wish
Absolutely.
we wish it was the other way around sometimes. The excitement's in the loan, not the home. But
Yeah.
it is, and it's easier for them to talk. So today we talked about, the advanced, just a glimpse of it, going to the shopping cart and being tracked around the internet with 10% off and all that. But that is something that you can store back there that you can learn in the future. Today is going to be a foundation of how do we use our pre-existing list, our database that we already have, our client list from our open house, and actually create a retargeting campaign that'll be beneficial for us to reconnect with those people.
Right. Yeah. And so I want to add one thing too. I didn't even think about this, but you know, you have your people that you've closed as well, right? And we do a bad job. Even for me, I don't do a great job at this and making sure that I'm getting the reviews that I need and, you know, doing all these types of things. But those people are your next referral. You know, you did a great job with those people that you just closed. You have their phone number, their email address, their names, their address. You have everything about them, getting them back into this and using that part of a campaign as follow me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram, follow me around everywhere. So that you remember who I am. And when they know someone, and we all know some home buying process, they're thinking about you.
You brought up some super, super great points of loving the people that you're with, loving the people that have already given you they know, like, and trust you. They've given you their business. And I heard from a great longtime loan officer who's got just a phenomenal team, and he's been in the business 30 plus years. And one of the things that he struggled with and had to realize, because it was so simple, it's some of those really simple things that elude us sometimes. And he was asked the question, you know, he asked the question, how do you create a great referral-based business? And he said that it was so simple that he had missed it for so long. He tried to complicate it. And the simple answer was to that question, how do you create a great referral-based business? And it's ask.
It is.
You ask for a great referral-based business.
that is exactly what it is. I mean, that's like sales 101. It's the funniest thing. It's when we're going through training and we're talking about things, that's the last thing we do, right? Or we don't do it at all. We leave a meeting that we've had together and then we don't ask to work together. And it's like, how did that just happen? You know, and it happens all the time, and happens with our clients as well. And, you know, one thing that, you know, I've gotten really good about, and especially with realtors through the buying process, helping their clients. I mean, I'm making sure that the realtors I'm working with and, you know, myself are asking multiple times, right? Co-branding this. If you know anybody that's interested, please let us know. And, you know, just reminding them of that, reminding them, of course, closings are different now, but still, you know, reminding them and asking them if they know, good chance that they do.
It's a good thing, you know, closings have changed, but relationships have not. And the way that we ask for business and bring value to people may change a little bit, but relationships are the same. And so we're going to focus on some of the relationships that we've already had, whether that's somebody we just met at an open house or whether that's a past client, how we can get back in front of them and utilize retargeting ads. And you're going to show us a little today, foundational on how we can upload a list and create a retargeting campaign or get started for that very first time that we're uploading a database into an ad campaign to get back in front of people. So Justin, take it away, man. We're looking forward to seeing how this is done from the master.
All righty, let's do this. All right, we're going to share our screen here. And so one thing that most people probably don't even realize is that in Facebook, there's actually and let me go.
Shout out to Jason Frazier, by the way.
I mean, the guy's awesome. Right?
He is.
Yeah. All right.
I'm tagging him since we talked about him today.
Yeah. I mean, those guys, I mean, obviously Andrew Pollock and all of them. I mean, you know.
Andrew's phenomenal as well.
All those guys are awesome. So what most people don't know on their Facebook page is they actually have this create tab. So for so long, all we had was a home page. Right? And now we have a create. So from that, you're able to go and click on an advertisement from here. So I'm not going to do that because I already have the page open and I don't want Zoom getting all.
So super convenient. That's great. They added that tab.
Yep, it is. So then the next thing you want to make sure of is that you're on your campaign, you know, that you're using. So if you have a business page, and you should have a business page if you're going to do this, make sure that you have that one clicked, and then you're not gonna, you know, use your personal ad. You want to be able to do it in your own, you know, platform. There.
Now, is that there at the top left where it'll show you that'll actually indicate whether you're on business page or personal? Okay.
Yeah. So if you have some that are broken down there, so you have, you know, personal account there, and then some of these different ones that I have here, and So,
Okay.
I made this one specific for this video so that we could talk about it, without going too crazy. So I did kind of a test run on this, but because there's a couple things that are missing in the edit feature, I'll just kind of start from brand new as if somebody was doing this without a start.
That's what we want. Right from we're seeing, it's act like we're seeing this for the very first time here, this ad campaign manager area.
Yep. So what you want to do is you want to start in your campaign tab. So I know this will take a second here, but once we get to that, you're going to want to go to create. And then this is kind of where you really get started with the whole process here, right? So what kind of engagement do you want with your client? A lot of people right now are using lead generation and spending a lot of money on that because you're literally getting people's information, and Facebook's like, we're not going to give this to you for free, right? And even if it's your own database, they're still going to charge you for it. My suggestion during COVID-19 is brand awareness, because you need to use this as something so that people see your face, in my opinion. If I'm a realtor, I'm not showing houses or a specific house, because you're targeting your entire database to that house. And if they don't like it, you're not going to get a reaction. You're going to get a reaction if you are showing your face, and you want people to see you, because hopefully during this process, you get to the point where you will do video and people are going to start to know you. And if you're able to start with this brand awareness, that's probably going to be the best way. Now, if you don't know what these different ones are, reach is exactly what it sounds like. They're trying to get it to as many people as possible, whether they click on you or don't, not important, just put you out there. Traffic is if you're trying to send them to a website. You got to remember, Facebook wants you to stay in Facebook. So if you take somebody off of Facebook and put them somewhere else, they're going to charge you for it. So those leads are going to be more expensive, or the engagement on your post. And then same thing with engagement. You're staying on Facebook, so it's more likely going to be a share button that you're going to want to use. If it's some kind of call to action like tag your friend, or something like that that's going through the home buying process, you may want to use engagement. But again, for the purpose of that, we want to go with brand awareness, because that is by far the best one when you're retargeting your own list. And then to make things simple so that you're testing, so that what's working and what's not working, because what works for me as a loan officer may not work the same as a realtor, and you want to find out what does work. Does a big shiny $1 million house work for people clicking on it? Or does your face create more buzz, right? A lot of times, depending on what your list is or what your target audience is, that $1 million house will actually push people away, and we've seen that.
So it's almost like a digital way of reading the room. So read your database. What do you think? Because again, we're just trying things right now. What do you think is going to engage them the most?
So I think your face engages people the most. Them seeing you, or just a call to action in general. You got to provide some kind of value for them to take action, right? So to me, if you're doing a brand awareness, you're asking for likes on your page. You're asking for a follow. You're asking just for people to see your face in general, because really, I believe in this market, what will happen is people right now are taking advantage of this. I'm taking advantage of this right now, but there's a lot of people sitting on the sidelines waiting for this to calm down before they're willing to go back out, show homes, do all these things. And right now there's some kick butt realtors that are out there hustling like they've never hustled before, and they're taking market share, and people have noticed, because they're like, you're killing it. What's going to happen is that those guys are going to continue killing it, even more so when this thing is over. But if you take advantage right now of getting your face out there so that you're seen, that's going to be the best way to do this right now. Let people see.
So what you said is be, even if you're contracting in your activities, to not contract in your exposure to people seeing your brand right now.
Absolutely. So we go back to the beginning where you have your bus stop signs and putting your face on all that. That is not necessarily so that somebody picks up the phone and calls you. It's so that they recognize you when they go into that process, when now they see you somewhere. They see you on Instagram, they see you on Facebook. They feel like they kind of know you already. And so if you're giving them some kind of value, later down the road, and they're like, man, I follow so-and-so, they're going to remember that. They're going to know. And of course, we all think about social media, if they're like, clicking on your page and they're liking your stuff, then they're going to interact with you, right? So, down the road. So the more content you bring, the better.
Totally
So,
agree.
I definitely think starting with brand awareness is by far the best way. Throwing a house up there does not connect with people, and especially right now, because it's just not as relevant, but people knowing that you're there for them, providing some kind of value. Maybe you're talking about, some of the different, programs or options or, whatever like that could be, something that's a call to action, but put your face on everything that you do, especially right now.
And again, we're retargeting people that we want to reconnect with, the previously known people that we have in our database. So continuing to keep them aware of our brand is what we're really diving into on this one right now.
Right. And so to think about that, if you do have a system with your brokerage or whoever where you're getting these leads that come in and they don't know who you are, the Commissions Inc. is real popular for that. KV Core, like I mentioned. There's a lot of them that, they just come in, or maybe you are part of Zillow. They don't necessarily know who you are when they click on your Zillow link, right? So they don't know you. This is the way to get them to actually know who you are, before you, have that conversation with them. So this is a great way to do this. So you want to name your campaign. For the purpose of this, I'll just do retargeting. And we'll do test because I already have the other one there. And then just name it the same so that you remember which one goes with which. All right, so now we are ready to go with that.
And Justin, let me ask you, by naming these two, you're going to, as you get deeper into ads, you said not everything works. What works for me might not work for you. So what worked for you before might not work later. So we're really going to see what campaigns are working and then double down and put our efforts into those as we work through new ads that we create.
Absolutely, because I've gone back to stuff that was a year ago and I'm like, this is what worked. This was the image that worked. This was the, call to action that worked. And those things are important. You don't think about it very much, but bringing up Andrew Pollock, he's like, we tested every color button that was possible and orange by far blew it away. And it's like, orange is a tacky color. Go Gators, by the way, but orange is a tacky color, right?
It works though.
It works. And if it works, you just leave it alone. You don't need an answer for it. It doesn't matter what your taste is. It works. It works.
It's like a fisherman finding that perfect spot in the river with the perfect lure, and I'm going to use that. I'm going to buy even more of that for my tackle box in case I lose it because it works.
Exactly. And you run with it until it doesn't. And you don't need to explain why it does because it doesn't matter. Just do it. Okay. So you're going to want to click that you're doing ads for a special ad category because Facebook had to crack down on people targeting specific groups of people, especially for, housing. This was a huge thing, right? But used to, you could target income and there's a lot of stuff you could do.
They start saying that things are having like redlining and things like that.
Yeah, because you could pick certain areas within a 1 mile radius of who you want to hit. So you're like, I'll just target this complex that charges $3,000 a month, and that's my future clients.
Ah, right? The good old days.
Right. So we can't do that anymore, right? And we're not supposed to. So we can't do that anymore. So go ahead and click it. And even if you feel like your ad is not necessarily for housing, you're just branding yourself as a realtor, Facebook's likely to flag it. And it really takes a hard process to get through that so that you're not having to worry about, getting your ad approved because that is at the end of the day.
Now, are you saying if you use a housing ad that it can land under even more scrutiny than a different ad?
It does. So, you've got to have specific things in there. So like as a lender, nobody should ever be putting what a rate is for a mortgage, right? That as a previous lender, you're not like, hey, this guy got 3.2% and then have no explanation of where that 3.2% came from.
That'll get you in trouble.
That'll get you in trouble really quick, right? It'll get you in trouble as a realtor too. But just you got to be careful with what you say. You got to keep your compliance easy. And that's why these brand awareness ads work so well is because we just want to talk about your face, right? Let's do a call to action.
There's no restrictions on talking about your face in RESPA or any document.
Exactly. Get your logo up there, get people to know who you are, and that's basically what it is. And then, for buying type, the only thing you can choose is auction because that's the way that they've done it. Again, we chose brand awareness as what we're going to use here. And then you want to start with your budget. Now, to me, everybody's going to have a different list size. You might only have 10 people, you might have 10,000 people. Facebook's going to tell you approximately how many people are going to get hit, per day based on your list that you do have. It really doesn't matter if you only have 10. It doesn't matter if you have 20. You still want to get it out there. Facebook can only charge for whatever it is that they get it to. So if you only have 10 people, you could put a $10 budget on there and it's not going to hit every, $10 every time, right?
Let me ask you something for this particular point. Let's say someone said, well, I used to put $10 into boosting. Let's say, and I want to put $10 into an ad campaign right now. What should I still stick with boosting posts for $10, or should I put that $10 or more into a daily budget for an ad campaign?
So boosting a post, so there's a couple of ways to look at that, right? So boosting a post is probably somebody giving value, or they should be giving value for what their content is that they're bringing, right? So boosting a post, you do have a little bit more that you can work with, but I've never seen success with it as far as getting leads. You might get engagement, it might get shared and all of that, but you're very unlikely to get actual people coming to your door, right? And that's what this is about. Like, I can promise you, this is not about having 20,000 Facebook followers, because you might have 20,000 Facebook followers, you closed 3 deals, and that was not worth it, right? You did not have the right value prop if that's the case. So it's not about that. Our goal is to close deals, right? So that's what we want to do. And right now, we're just trying to dig deals out that we totally forgot about because we were so busy before COVID-19. We didn't need those people, right? So now we're trying to find, those people. My suggestion, I never boost a post. I don't think it's worth doing.
Word of the day, don't boost. I'm sticking with that. I'm going to put that on the bottom here since we recorded that.
Yeah.
Don't boost, create an ad.
Yeah, just create the ad. You have more control over it that way. And then personally, I think $5 is really a high enough budget. You could even go lower than that. If you're willing to sit on $100 monthly budget, I think, $3 a day, basically $3.33, $4, that's going to get to the people you likely have. Even if you have 1,000 people on your list, you're very likely to hit them in that, price range.
So 2 things really quick that people might be thinking when it comes to this ad budget too, because some people might have thought that this might cost a lot. To get into ads, I'm going to have to spend hundreds of dollars. So you're saying that I can get in the game and get my message out there further and actually more clearly target people with as little as $5. That's what I'm hearing, number one. And the second thing is, if I was to have a larger budget to put out ads, would it behoove me to run some smaller ad campaigns to get an idea of what works before I start dumping more money in? Or could I just go right off the cliff and just dump $150 into an ad campaign, my first ad campaign? What do you suggest?
So that's usually what people do, right? Is because they see everywhere on YouTube or wherever that these magic magician Facebook specialists are like, do this ad, spend $150, you'll get 10 leads and you'll go close $20,000 worth of business, right? And then it doesn't work out and you're like, oh my God, I just wasted 100. Facebook's never going to work. The biggest thing is to remember what Facebook is for. Facebook is, when somebody is looking at you on Facebook and you're running an ad, first off, you're in their way, right? Because they're not there for you. Like that is not what they're there for. They're there looking at content. They're there looking at their friends' photos, their family's photos. That's why they're there. You're interrupting that space. So you're running this advertisement and you got to be real careful about why you're running it and how that's going to relate with what their viewing is. Take that different to other platforms where you can, advertise on Google and all those things. You're going to get much more, targeted audience because they're actively searching for something. On Facebook, they're just there viewing, right? So if you're trying to give them something that they need to engage with and go through this lead funnel and do all these things, you're asking them to do a lot when all they wanted to do was look at their brother's kids,
Yeah.
So you got to really think about what it is that we're doing. and really keep it simple. I mean, if you follow this blueprint, you'll have success with this.
Awesome.
And I don't know too many realtors that if they spend $150 in May and they got a closing out of it, that would not be happy with that ROI. That's pretty darn good, right?
That's pretty darn good.
Yeah. So $5 a day is good. I do think if you're like, hey, I'm willing to do $100 for the month, then go ahead and do that. You can change this, lifetime budget. You can do 100. If you do that, it'll spend it as fast as it can. So if you do have a big, list, then obviously it's going to burn through it a lot quicker than it would, if you have a smaller list as far as the price goes. But yeah, I think doing the daily budget kind of sets a good expectation for you of what to expect.
Very good.
All right. So once we're done setting all that up, this is where it's kind of starts to get fun, right? So now we have to start thinking about what our audience is going to be. Obviously, you're going to start whenever you want to start. I will tell you that in my experience, and this is worth a lot of money here, just telling you this, but my experience is Sunday night through Thursday afternoon. That's a great time to run. You would think that people are like, well, I'm sitting on the couch on Saturday. That's what they're doing. They're not on Facebook, right? They're not. They might be at home. They might be, doing whatever. They're cutting the grass. They're not here, and you're going to get charged for that. So if you're one of those that can pay attention and turn it on and turn it off at different times, and be as anal as I am about it, then, go ahead and do that. If not, just let it ride. It really doesn't matter, but I've just had better success at certain times.
Well, thank you for that information. That is high level. You guys got that for free today, so take that to the bank.
Exactly. All right, so this is where we start to have some fun with what we're trying to do here. So we want to create a custom audience. So if you've gotten this far in Facebook ads before, then normally it's just kind of where people get stuck because they're not sure what to do. Used to, we could scroll down here and do detailed targeting, and we could say, income over 75,000, just bought a Maserati, blah, 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 right? And we could do all that. And now that is no longer the case. We used to also be able to target based on age. So we don't want an 18-year-old trying to buy a house, right? Like but we can't do that anymore. So, obviously things have changed a little bit. So what we want to do is we want to target our audience. Now, the age thing is not going to matter because they were our audience already. So whatever their age was when they were our audience, that's what it's going to be. So it really doesn't matter. When you get more in depth with it, then you can worry about that.
And so even though we're retargeting an audience right now, we're creating an audience right now as well to zero in on what we're looking for this to reach. And then maybe the next video when we have you on, we'll have to talk about doing some lookalike audiences too. Yeah. If we don't touch on that today, maybe we'll have to do another video. So stay tuned.
Yeah, because that was definitely one we set up later because there's a lot that goes into that. But definitely. Yeah, that's when you really start to fine tune this. But so what you want to do, you go into your custom audience and you're going to do a new audience. So your custom audience is going to be what you can see there, reach people who have already interacted with your business. So these are people that are list. It could be somebody that you bought a list. There's a lot of people that sell lists and all of that, and that's fine. You could do that. If you're running your own ad campaigns, throw them in there. But this is pretty simple. So you're going to create a custom audience, and then you're going to go to customer list. So Facebook's going to tell you what you need to do in order to, go to this list. Okay. So you're going to need an identifier, which you guys should know what that is. But if you've looked at an Excel form, you're going to see at the top of it, it says first name, last name, phone number, email, and then all those things correspond with it underneath that. That's what Facebook's going to be looking for. Now, they do give you a template, and I'll pull that up real quick just so that.
Show us that template.
Okay, so exactly what I was saying here is that they give you this where you have your top up there and it has your email, has your phone number. These IDs, you're obviously not.
I'm not seeing that right now, so I think that you have to go into screen share and actually click because it'll only show the window of the browser right now.
Sorry about that. Okay.
There we go.
Okay, sorry about that. So you're going to see where obviously at the top of this, you have your email. It has multiple emails because sometimes you have a buyer and a co-buyer. So you may have that scenario. You have your phone numbers in here. And again, this is just generated from Facebook just to give you an idea as to what it is. First name, last name. If you have a zip code, that's even more, specific to make sure that they find this exact person. You go through this, obviously they're in the United States. So there's a lot of information you can have on these people that now you can upload. So now we're going to go back to our ads manager here. Can you see that now?
I sure can, yeah.
All right, so what we're going to do is, let me see if I can skip through this. So you do have to answer yes, because obviously you need your formatted list there. And then you do have to accept that these are your people, whether you've bought this list, whether it's people you've generated. You can't just steal someone's list and then throw it in there. Another thing you don't want to do is like take your broker's list and then throw all those people in there. Probably wouldn't be very good. Probably not what you want to do.
Don't do that.
If you want to bring some value to them, though, now this would be a great way to do that, right? So teach them how to do that. But anyway, so you got to accept that you're going to do all these things. Now, once you've uploaded your list, it's going to tell you exactly how you've mapped it out, okay? So this is going to show you, and let me see if I just upload their file, what that'll do.
So this is your list you're looking for in your file. You have your Excel or CSV list, and you're uploading it right now.
Yep, you'll need a CSV. So that's the only way that'll do it.
CSV only.
Yep, so if you go to, the main thing on this is to make sure that if you have, I usually cut out all the stuff in it, and I just do first name, last name, email, phone. That's usually enough to do what you need to do for Facebook to find all these people. That's really all you need. If you have address and zip code and all that, those are like special little features that you can do. But for the most part, as long as you have that, then you're fine. Okay. And then you're going to want to make sure that you name your audience. And this is important if you do have major lists, right? If you want to target all of your open house clients and only open house, then make sure this is only your open house clients. If you have a large database of just straight cold clients like a Sync or KV Core or something like that, do them separate so that you could see which one, works the best. But for this example, again, we'll do retargeting tests just to keep it simple. Okay. So now this is going to be, all right, if you have value, you can do value, but we'll skip that. This is going to be what you come up to first. So what Facebook is going to do is it's going to have all of your things broken down. So you can see they've filled in all of those boxes in green, and you can see all of them are lit up. Now, what you're going to want to do is make sure that they have, match the ones correctly. So if you have email here, but these are phone numbers, and you're going to want to change this right here to what it is, right? So you can kind of scroll through this. Obviously, if you do it like I do with just name, first name, last name, phone number, email, they're only going to have 4 different things here. Now, what the customer value is basically if you know that you have highly targeted people, you can give them a value that Facebook will make sure that we show this to them multiple times because they are high, ready to go buyers. We don't know that, so that's not going to be important. We'll not.
So that's interesting. That's something I did not know about myself. So as we move forward with ad campaigns, we can actually assign a numeric value, and that will allow for the ads for those higher value people, they'll get more of that ad.
Correct.
Okay. Very cool.
All right. So once everything is set up here, we're going to upload and create. All right. And then your customer list has been successfully uploaded. So from here, like you mentioned before, you could do a lookalike audience. We're not going to do that. So we're just going to get out of this now.
Stay tuned.
Yes, we'll go back to that another time. All right. So now you have your target, your customer list in here as your retargeting list. So now when you run this advertisement, we're only going to be advertising to the people on that list. Okay, so that's very important because, don't think that you're going to start advertising to everyone in Tampa. You're only targeting your specific list that you've had an interaction with, right?
Very important to remember. We're not going broad here. We're going very detailed for the list of people that we're uploading.
Right. And what we're trying to get out of this and why we're doing this is because, really this is kind of part of my first release of Realtor Stimulus, right, package, right? So we really want to dig up and data mine people we already have. The goal of this is for you to go find one client out of your list that you completely forgot about that you go out and you're shopping with, or you get them to close. I don't care if you have 10,000 people on your list that you forgot about. If you have one that closes, that's awesome, right? So
that is awesome.
That's putting money in your pocket, and that's obviously what we want to do. Now, one thing that you want to make sure that you do with locations is that you always want to do people living in this location. Now, with your own list, it's not as important unless you do an open house and somebody really lives in Ohio and they're not interested. So keeping it to people that are living in your location means that they're here, right? They're renting, they own their own home, whatever, but you're there. So you want to do that. And then at this point, you're pretty much done. Now, if you do, Tampa, you're going to notice one thing with housing ads now is the smallest radius you could do is 15 miles. So you can't target just, I'm in Valrico, I'm only going to do 3 miles within Valrico. It's 15 miles no matter where you are.
Like how we used to do for an open house, we would have like the people in that neighborhood or like inviting an ad for a great big open house we're having, and we only want like that community to be seeing the ads. Can't do that anymore.
Used to be able to do that, and that was awesome, but can't do that anymore. Now, again, we have our own list, so that's not going to be as important with this. Typically, I just go ahead and go to 50 because they were in my area. They're interested in doing something, and they're going to be in this spot. Okay, so once you've completed that part, you're typically going to see a potential reach here, right? So you're going to see how many people am I going to get to, how many people am I going to get every month. Now, I only had 10 people, I think, on this list, so it's not going to give me very much. So just for the point of or purpose of showing you guys what this will do, is I'll put a couple audiences in here so you can kind of see what it will do here. I don't know why it's picking on me because I know that these already work. I know that that's not it. Okay, anyway.
We never know sometimes. We never know when the coders are behind the scenes refreshing some things.
Yeah, so I tested this last night before we did this, so I know for a fact that this works. But anyway, so I have about 3,000 people that are on these total lists, okay? So ones that I've done, ones that have been on my website and all those different things. But these are my list. There's over 3,000 on here. So last night when I was doing this, for example, this exact thing had 180 to 400 people daily on a $5 budget that it would hit. Okay, so it kind of gives you a good idea. Even if this shows that it's unavailable and it doesn't say that your estimated reach on here, which estimated daily aren't available since the budget is optimized. Okay, and that's another thing too, is that if you choose the optimized budget, it's not going to show you the daily results. It doesn't mean it's not going to be the same. As you run the ad, you're going to see the results regardless. But this just gives you a good idea. If you have a huge list and you want to spend more money to hit more people daily, then obviously that gives you a better idea of how to do it. But because this campaign is optimized, I guess it's not going to show us. Okay. So you get your list in there. Again, 10 people, 10,000, doesn't matter. Choose your location. Just get in the habit of doing that, because when you get to where you do more ads, you want to make sure you just do that every time. If you don't do that, you'll start losing money. Okay, and then you're not going to do any details.
Repeat that again. How do we stop from losing money?
Do this, right? So make sure, just get in the habit of always choosing people that live in your location. Make sure that if you want to fine tune location, go ahead and do that. Just know that it's limited to 15 miles. So, if you're going to do Tampa at 15 miles, that's fine. If you just want to do Florida in general, you're able to do that. But these are just people that are on your list. And you don't even have to choose Tampa. You could choose the entire United States, but obviously we're local here, so that's what we're looking at. All right. And then if you want to lower this down even more, if you want to put English, you want to put Spanish, what I will say is that if you're a Spanish realtor and you're not putting Spanish in here, you're losing out a lot. I do a lot of like Spanish advertising and it absolutely kills it. Now, I can't talk to the people, so everything is referral based, but this kills it. If you're a realtor, put it in here, and you'll be amazed at the results that you're going to get.
Hola, mi amo Justin.
That's as far as I could go. I took all the classes and aced them, but I just can't remember anymore. It's something I wish that I still knew. I didn't know I was going to need it later. And then again, you're not going to do any detailed targeting. Normally you could put in here if people are, searching on Zillow or whatever. I will caution if you, going this far that if you put Zillow in here, it's people that could be for the last 6 months. So they may have already closed on their home or whatever. So just move on from that and don't put that in here, especially if you're doing your own list. And then I always suggest doing your own manual placement for your advertisement because you have control over what it looks like. I don't know how many times like I've seen going through a Facebook story and somebody's advertisements in there and it's all like funky looking, the words are all huge and something is all messed up with it. And it's because they just let everything ride with the automatic placement. My suggestion on this is to stick to nothing but, personally, I think Facebook's the best way for this, but if you want to do Instagram because you like Instagram, do that. And then just keep it on the feeds because that is by far the best way to make sure that your ad looks the best.
Can our ad dollars be stretched out the same using Facebook and Instagram? Does that limit anything?
It doesn't. So whichever one's getting the most, engagement is where it's going to go. So Facebook's goal is we want you to keep spending money. So everybody thinks about it the wrong way. Like, well, they're charging me all this money and it's only going to this and it's not working. No, they want you to keep spending money because if you spend that $150 and you don't get any ads out of it or don't get any results, you're not going to keep spending money. So they put it in the faces of people that want to engage with you. So they want you to keep spending the money.
And they've got some of the most data in the world knowing who needs to receive your ads. So that they know what they're doing.
They do for sure. So again, I would make sure that you can do the stories and they're fine. But you probably want to create a custom story, right? And you're able to do that in here. I don't know why this thing's messing with me. Okay. You can do that in Facebook now. I just noticed that yesterday they added that where you are able to create a custom, field or whatever for just an Instagram story, just a Facebook story, an instant article, different, features like that. But I would just keep it to newsfeed, especially if this is the first time that you're doing this. All right. And then go ahead and do all mobile devices. That's not a big deal, but I would highly suggest doing the Wi-Fi only. And here's another like $1,000 gold nugget, right?
Pay attention, folks.
If somebody is on Wi-Fi, that means they're not driving down the road, okay? So when somebody is scrolling down and they're just driving, they're sitting in the passenger seat, hopefully, and not driving on Facebook. But if they're sitting in the passenger seat and they're just scrolling, they're seeing your ad, they're not gonna stop on it because they're not interested, right? They're looking for what they're looking for. If you're on Wi-Fi, that means you're hanging out at home, you're hanging out at work, you're connected to Wi-Fi. So you're going to be more engaged with what you're doing and have time to do it as opposed to just driving down the road and not doing it. And believe me, it makes a huge difference. This probably like doubled the amount of, or cut the cost per engagement in half by doing that.
That is huge. That is huge.
Massive, massive difference. Yeah, you just need people that really care about it. All right, so now you're done. Okay, so you've kind of completed everything on this part of it for your audience. And then this is where you have the fun with creative. Again, I would always stick to something with brand awareness that has your face on it. For the purpose of this, I'm just going to use a post so that this doesn't take forever because we don't want to lose people, right?
Well,
But
maybe that's another. Maybe that instead of the what we talked about with the lookalike audiences,
yep,
maybe something we should get together on was designing of an ad. I think that would be
yeah,
huge for everybody. If you'd be willing to do it,
yeah,
we'll talk about that more later. Continue on, my friend.
sure. All right. So again, for the simple part of this, we'll just use an existing post. And then you can kind of come in here and select the post you want to choose. I'll just choose the most recent one that I had. All right. And then again, you see that you have two different places of where your ad is going to show up. So that's how it's going to look in your Facebook feed. Make sure that it looks right. Okay. There are dimensions you can get from here. I don't even know what they are because everything's just set up, but you can do that inside of this. And then again, make sure the same thing on Instagram. Make sure that whatever it is that you're showing people looks right. Again, if it's your face, just make sure that you look correct and you're not blown up, that you're not, your image isn't half the size of the actual post, because I see that all the time. Now, again, if it's not, you can click this customize tab and you can crop it now. You can do all these different things on it. So that's why if you choose those other options, you can do them. But for the point of this, I think this is probably the best way to go. I just wouldn't get crazy. And then your next thing is making sure of what it is that you actually want out of this. So you want the brand awareness. You can choose a call to action. And if you do that, you're asking people to do something, right? So that's what it is. So if you have a contact us, you can do that and it'll go to like a messenger. You could do a download. You could do all these different ones. For me, I would just leave this alone and not add a call to action for brand awareness. What's going to happen is that you're going to get a like, a comment, and a share on your post.
Just real quick, if someone was to choose that I want a call to action, there's something that I do want them to do. What is it best to just leave a button there, or is it best to within your ad somehow indicate that you would like to ask of them to complete an action?
Absolutely. So if you want to do that, you can. Obviously they have all these different options. For me, if you want people to engage with you because of a brand awareness, then my suggestion would be a send message, because then it's going to send, if somebody clicks on that, they're going to engage with you right away.
Now, you get to start a conversation, which is probably one of the best things you could have happen.
Absolutely. So Messenger by far is the easiest way to do this, because they see who you are. They either like you right away or they don't. And if they click on your message, they are interested in whatever it is that you're doing, right? They want to say something to you. A lot of these other options are going to be something like fill out my form, right? Which Facebook, to a degree, has it where it's easy to do that. They already have their name, their phone number, their email set up. They can click on that and instantly, they're going with it. The only thing with that is that you get low level leads out of it, because it is so simple for them to fill out. So if you do want to do a call to action and you want somebody to do something, I would highly suggest the send message, because it's the easiest entry, right, into having a conversation, is doing it that way.
And Facebook is doubling down on their Messenger app. It's going to expand over the next several months. You're going to see some amazing thing happen with Messenger. They want to be your one-stop shop for messaging, integrating WhatsApp, Messenger, and everything all together. And if someone does do that, if you use a call to action, don't be afraid to send them a great high-definition video of yourself, and engage them that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I've gotten to the point, you did that for me a couple times, and I've gotten to the point where I do that. First thing I learned was getting on the iPhone thing where I could send a voice message. So I'd leave a message and then leave a voice message. And I'm like, no, you saw it. I know you did. Because now it's on, right? So I know you did. But I got to the video now, and it works like crazy.
It works, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's awesome, So that's definitely a cool thing to do. And if you get them in Messenger, then you've got them, right? Now you can do some research on your own. Who is this person? What are they looking to do? There's a lot of stuff that you could do to get some background before you get started. Do they have kids? Do they have, are they living in a home now? Are they renting? There's a lot of things you can kind of pick up from that. But send message is going to be your best bet for a call.
So one thing to say here on top of all that too is to be prepared to engage. Don't have somebody, that coveted golden goose, contact you and you not show up for a day or two. Be ready to engage them back. I think that's an important thing to
Yeah.
remember.
It is for sure. And everything is about speed to lead, right? We all know that. As soon as the lead comes in, we got to call them, like Zillow and all those different lead sources. We know how fast we got to call them. It's the same thing with these guys. If somebody's willing to send you a message and click on that, they want to have a conversation right then, not in an hour, not in 2 hours. So you want to be careful. If you already know in your mind, I'm not great at this follow-up thing, then that's not the direction I would go. Stick with the brand awareness, do the follow-up campaign afterwards. Because you can start targeting just your own page for people as well later down the road. So again, I would leave that, blank just for your first roll through. All right, and then you're done. Literally done with the ad at this point. If you do have a Facebook pixel, which we can kind of talk about that, another time when we set something up and really kind of go in depth with what the Facebook pixel does. I always turn mine on, but you're not going to have.
That's a huge thing, and we look forward to talking about that too. Pixels are hot topic.
It is. So going back to the shopping cart, that's how they know who you are, right?
Yes.
And that's how they know your product.
That's the tracking device. That's the little 007 spy thing that they tuck underneath the tail end of your sedan and travel around the city.
Exactly. That's how they know. So when you get to that point, then it's an exciting thing to see the difference of being able to get back in front of people. Because it does take at least seven interactions to get people to do something with you. So when you start looking at this and you see your brand awareness and you're like, man, this person's seen it 6 different times and they haven't liked me yet. Okay, go to number 7 and let's see what they do. They're either going to get rid of you or they're going to like it. And that's the way that it goes.
And this is a subtle way to get back in front of people as they're scrolling through their news feed. It's not like you're directly sending them an email or sending them a text message. You are kind of very, not incognito because we don't want that, but you're subtly coming up on their news feed as they're scrolling down like, oh, there's an ad from Ryan Owens or Justin Cardwell. Man, I was just having a conversation with my brother about buying a house. I almost forgot about Justin. Almost. Not until they saw our ad here.
Yeah. I mean, I think what really got this kind of going for me was that I did a lot of open houses and I would see, they'd send me the list and they're like, oh yeah, I didn't get back to that person or I haven't talked about that to that person yet. And it's like, what are we doing? Like we need to get on this right now, So I got to where it was like, send me the Excel sheet, same day, we're getting it into the list. We're running, the campaigns. And I didn't waste any time on that because I want people to, especially for me as a lender, people have to remember me because that's just the way that it is. They need the financing to make things happen, and they need a realtor too. But obviously, they could flip within 5 miles find 100 realtors, right? So you gotta stay in front of them. You just absolutely have to. Don't waste your time in an open house if you're not gonna follow up with the people that come through.
That's the word of the day. That's good advice there.
Yeah, and then you're done. So, click on publish, and then what's going to happen is Facebook will basically send you a thing that's going to say that you're in draft. Once it says that you're into draft, they will, let's see why it says because of errors. Let's find out why. Account does not have, okay. So
our first one.
Yeah. Well, they're getting mad at me because they said that I don't have access to their list. Right. So again, and they will find out about you if you are trying to do something that you can't do. So the reason why I got
they've seen it all.
They have. So they don't want me to retarget to their list.
Okay.
Right. So that they provide it to us. So our retargeting test.
But that's not going to happen with your databases, your stuff. That's not going to be an error you're going to see.
Right. The only reason that is just because, again, they realize that I didn't have access to that list, so they don't want me to do that. All right. Go back in here. And everything should be fine, even if it says that account access does not have account, blah, 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 to this pixel. Okay, whatever. All right. Well, we don't have pixels anyway, right? So
no, we do not.
Why this thing is messing with me, but regardless, we don't care about that right now. For the purpose of your ad, you'll click on publish, And then what's going to happen is you're going to get your screen that says the ad is now in draft. And then usually within an hour or so, it's actually going to say, that you have, been approved, right? And
So
once
there
it's
is an approval process where some either artificial intelligence or a human being is going to make sure the ad is good, and then they're going to improve it.
correct. So where you have this deliver here, it's actually going to say that you're in draft.
Okay.
And then, or it'll say publishing, awaiting review, something along those lines will be on here. Once that's done, it'll say that it's, approved and enabled, right? So once you're
Fantastic.
enabled, you start running right away. Everything will start going. You'll be able to see, each one of these things has something, different. Your campaign is how you started the process, what your objective was. The ad set is your targeting, right? So that is your people that you're targeting. If you wanted to change and add a list to that, you would go into your ad set. And then your ads is pretty self-explanatory. That is your actual creative for what people are going to see. So, that is basically it.
Awesome. You took us through it. This is a longer video for Facebook, but I know a lot of people are going to tune in, and they should, because if you do, you got dropped some $1 million information today on how to get reinvigorated, reconnected with your past clients, those you've had an open house, those you didn't follow up with for a while during this time of pause, and then knowing when you can catch people while they're on Wi-Fi, which was a huge tip.
Yep.
To be able to be effective in these ads. So you've given us a lot today, and I think that there's some subsequent videos that we can come back on to be able to dive in a little bit further into how to create an ad and make it look right, whether utilizing your face or the home or whatever it might be, and talk a little bit more about that. But Justin Cardwell from Loan Depot, the main thing today, other than the amazing value, is to know about Justin Cardwell, because you are a standout here in the Central Florida area as a huge resource for real estate agents and consumers, and just really appreciate you giving us this knowledge today. It's really, really important, and we thank you.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. I'm glad that we finally got to do this, and I enjoy doing this. So if you have questions, don't even hesitate about asking me. Leave a comment, reach out to me, whatever. I love doing this. And I think the biggest thing out of this is that if I see people closing or getting some interaction, then that'll make my day during this whole disaster of COVID-19. So
you remember who helped you. You let Justin know, and whether you found this on YouTube, whether you see this on Facebook, I'm going to have information to get a hold of Justin. I mean, he is a servant-minded person that'll absolutely love to help you out if you have any questions. And again, Justin, thank you for this info today, man. We'll see you on the next video.
That sounds good, man. I appreciate it.